All right, Saggy. So this week you've pulled some difficult cards, but we're going to work through this. So this week, Sagittarius, from Lay Vampire, you pulled Call for Help. Reach out, need for backup, admit your needs. And then from Chakra Wisdom, you pulled Confusion. Now, Call for Help talks about needing to work with protection and shielding techniques. And it talks about how to do that. But the reason why is because it's saying that you have a real sixth sense about something that is happening around you. And basically, you're needing some help. This card talks about removing untrustworthy people and being cautious in your dealings with them. It's saying this is not a time to drop your guard around them because someone may be waiting for that to happen. So, I kind of get iffy when it comes to this, and then with confusion showing up next to it, I can understand, if you don't have any real evidence that somebody may be out to get you, it can be a confusing thing. But confusion from Chakra Wisdom says through the willingness to be in confusion, we find clarity. There is nothing to solve. Meditation and quiet time will bring clarity. The personal question says, can I see confusion as a good thing? Can I learn to let go of needing an immediate outcome? The key ideas are allowing confusion, spiritual support, consequences of actions, and finding love. So basically, I feel like a lot of you may be confused as to why you're feeling this way. But I do think that that call for help is you calling out for some spiritual help here and understanding what is going on, why you feel like something is coming. It's one of those things where you can't explain it. You know that there is like something waiting for you to just drop your guard. But confusion is saying that you don't have to take any immediate action. This is one of those things where, it's going to be a confusing thing, but the best course of action is to sit back and wait for things to clear up. Because again, through confusion, you will find clarity. All right, Sag, here we go. Here's the energy coming through. It's good, but I worry, and I don't know why. The Ten of Pentacles being your signifier is saying that you are focused on your stability. It's saying that there is really good financial backing. The Ten of Pentacles is one of those cards where you're laying down your roots. And it is about generations. What are you passing on to the next generation, right? But, for me, when I'm looking at it in terms of weekly readings and general energies, it's like your stable foundation and your security is where your focus is right now. And it looks good. This could also suggest things going on within the family as well. And in the past, the Three of Wands. So, if that's where your focus is, basically looking at the Three of Wands as the past coming through, you've put some plans into action here. You're starting to see things develop, but you're also looking at the long term, especially with both of them. It's one of those things where I've always said when you're looking out over the cliff, you should already know what to expect because these are the things that you have set into motion. You're looking for initial development. But it looks good between the both of them. That's where the worry came in a little bit there. So the Five of Pentacles in present conditions. I like that you have the 3 and the 10 because it's saying that, you're doing the work to create the stability. It's just in the present moment, you may be feeling some financial strain. When you're looking at the Five of Pentacles, especially with what you have going on here, it's almost like there's a feeling here where you're going to have to spend a little bit of money to get to where you have this security. Because of this being the signifier and this only being present conditions, I don't see this as like a tremendous loss of money. I don't think that that's the case here. I just think that, some of you are putting in some work here, but it's costing you more than what you're seeing right now. But that doesn't mean that that can't change. Oh, yeah. You have to forgive me, Sag. My voice is failing me again. Now, looking at the Three of Pentacles, the threes, right? You're in the manifestation process here when it comes to the things that you're working toward. And this holds importance for you. When you're looking at the Three of Wands and the Three of Pentacles, you know, you're talking about like a collaboration almost. You know, like you're working with someone here to create something that has the potential for some really amazing financial security. It's just in the present moment, it's going to cost you a little bit is what it feels like. I don't feel like you're losing anything major. And whatever you do end up, you know, having to lose here with what you're working toward, you get to a point here where things start to pick up. This could be a new job, a new project, looking at the threes, but it's something that you've had to put some money into in order to, you know, start to see things. But it's like, it would have been different. It would have been like the Six of Pentacles, but seeing the five, I think you're going to feel the strain from it. But I feel like you know this. You know that in order to get to that point here where you start to see things develop, you're going to have to spend a little bit more than what you may have initially expected here with the Three of Wands, but you are seeing progress. I just think that for some of you, it may be a little bit slow going because of like this being like a minor like block. Like I'm not seeing this as a bad thing. And again, that's because this is the actual signifier. And then seeing this with future conditions looks great. Your best path to follow, the moon. Here's the thing. And immediately I feel like for some of you, you know, this may be a thing where you, especially when you're talking about confusion, right? When you're looking at this in terms of like the work that you're doing, especially if you're working with other people, you know, I can see where a call for help is coming through if this doesn't have to do with somebody trying to take advantage of you. But seeing confusion, you know, maybe being confused on the best way to move forward with this project. I don't think that this is something you should give up on, nor do I think that you should be in the mental state of, I'm chasing illusions. You know, the moon, in terms of creativity too, between the two looks really good. It really does. You know, you may be pulling some like major creative inspiration from the subconscious mind right now. And it's paying off. Really, it is. I don't feel like you're chasing something that isn't real. I just think that, you know, when it comes to what is surfacing here in the subconscious mind, it's something that you're going to have to pay attention to, you know, and pay attention to what your gut feeling is telling you when it comes to this situation here. I don't think that this should be anything that's going to block you from continuing what you're doing here. Oh, and there you are. Look at it. In your environment. You know what you need to do in order to get to that spot there with the Ten of Pentacles. Looking at the King of Wands, you're in tune with yourself. You're being wise about the things that you're going after here. You're not doing anything foolishly and not looking at what the long-term results are going to be. Because it would have been different if like the Knight of Wands would have showed up, because the Knight of Wands is going after stuff with a ton of passion, but not really looking at the long term. Here you definitely are. Absolutely. It's like between all three of them. You're being smart about it. It's just that, you know, you're going to face like some minor difficulties here with the Five of Pentacles. I'm not seeing it as any huge blow, but it may be hard to get your projects initially off the ground because of the money that it's going to take to start it. It sucks because when you want to do something on the creative end and you're wanting to like really show your talents off here, it can become difficult when you have to put so much money into it before you start to see the return. But again, you know, with you being in your environment, I think you're okay. You're okay. You understand that this is something that has to happen. Oh, very nice. The threes. Look at the threes. I mean, really, you know, looking at the Three of Cups as your hopes and fears. And then again, when you're looking at call for help, these are the people that support you. These are the people who actually give a shit about what you're doing, and they want to celebrate your accomplishments with you. So the people you do have around you that you are working with are the ones that are going to have your back. And, I like seeing this here because I see you like hoping to eventually be able to celebrate the fact that you've gotten to this point here. But I do feel like these are the people that you're working with, It's just that there's just a little bit of strain that happens in the present moment. And then the outcome. So this is two things. With the Eight of Wands being the outcome, it's saying that this situation is going to move quickly. You're quickly going to get to a point here where you start to see some results after the initial startup. The other thing too is, again, when it comes to call for help and looking at the Eight of Wands, looking at the Three of Cups, communication, needing to communicate things to the people that you are working with. Calling those people in like, hey, I've got, this project that I'm doing. Can you please help me with this? I do think, Sag, that it's going to be important this week to do some communicating when it comes to, calling in those people that you want to work with. Because I don't think that this is you going after something on your own. And it shouldn't be that way. When you're looking at the King of Wands too, one of the descriptions that I love about him is that people will follow him. He's so passionate and always seeking the new adventure, but he does it in a way where, he shows other people the way as well. You may be like the head of this group here, like the mastermind, right? Bringing this creative project into life. But again, the potential there for some growth is really good. It's just, you're going to have to spend a little bit, and that may be where you're needing to, do some communicating with maybe some family members, maybe some friends, get them involved in what you're doing so that you can see the results that you're wanting here, And again, it may be a family thing, right? But it looks good. It looks good. So Sag, whatever you're working on, I think you're doing great. And whatever, creative inspiration here you're pulling with the moon, it looks really good. I'm not seeing this as a bad thing at all. I'm seeing you pulling from a really deep place and bringing it out in such a way that, it's going to have like fantastic potential. It looks really good. It does. All right, Sag, we're going to take a look at the soul trees to see what other messages there are for you guys. But your readings are like really practical. They're really practical. Whatever it is that you're working on or whatever creative projects you have in mind, now is the time to start working on them and reaching out to people who can help you get this stuff off the ground and get going. And new growth, absolutely. Absolutely. I like truth, especially when it comes to, communicating with people. I think it's important that you're truthful with them about what it is you're wanting to do, and the fact that, maybe you're needing to borrow money or that it's going to cost some money to initially get started. The solar plexus, though, when you're looking at truth, you know who you are, right? There is a healthy ego that is happening here. You know what it is that you want. You know where you're going. And then new growth, it's everywhere. New growth happening for you. It's just you may face something temporarily. But I think communication is what's going to be important. The communication of the truth to the people that you're wanting to reach out to and work with. All right, Sag, we're going to take a look at the romance angels to see what is going on for you guys in terms of relationships. Your readings are always practical. It feels practical. You have things that you're wanting to do. You're wanting to show off your talents and your skills, but I think you're going to need some support for you to be able to do this. And I think communication by the end of the week is going to help you, as far as getting this stuff going. Forgiving and learning. As you release and heal the past, you experience more love in the present moment. So for those of you who are single, it is important to forgive and release. You know, you definitely want to learn from the experiences you've been through, but you don't want it to be something that's going to affect any new relationships that you get into. Playfulness. To recapture romance, allow your inner youthful spirit of fun to shine. Absolutely, especially with the King of Wands sitting there, because I've said this before. I think it was in Cap's reading last week. That lion, I'm telling you, my husband's a Sag. Seeing that shit-eating grin on that lion, I swear to God, if that's on him. So Sag, be playful. If you're in a relationship and you're happy, make sure that you show off that youthful spirit that you have. Overall, Sag, I just think that communication is going to be important by the end of the week. Communicate with the people that you're wanting to work with. Let them know what it's going to cost them to get involved in this. And definitely be open to tapping into the subconscious mind for some inspiration. All right, Sag. So I think that, the initial message for these two still applies. I do think that for some of you, you need to be careful. You just need to be careful about, dropping your guard, getting rid of untrustworthy people, and it can be a confusing thing. But then on the other hand, looking at these, I really do think that for some of you, you're going to have to reach out and call for some help when it comes to the things that you're working toward. I do think that communication, and by the end of the week, is going to be important. And getting people involved in the project that you're working on here, because I do think that it holds some importance for you. This is something that I think you're wanting to do, because I do see you working with other people, but you're also looking at the long term. You're not foolishly going after things here. You're being smart about it, right? But I do think that initially it's going to cost you. And, I think that you know that, and I think that you're okay with that. I'm not seeing this as a really bad thing, and I don't think that it's a situation where you're going to be losing a lot of money, because this is your signifier. This is ultimately what you're looking toward. So whatever it is that you're working on has fantastic potential, and I do think that with the moon, you are tapping into a deep place here and bringing out some creativity. I don't think that you are chasing any illusions. I can understand the confusion on how to get things started. But I do think that for some of you, this may actually be a family situation where you're needing the help of family members to get things off the ground. And it may be a situation here where you're going to have to communicate to them that, hey, I want to do this and I want to start working on this, but I may need a little bit of help. And that may have to do with money. But overall, it looks really good. I don't think that you're doing anything foolish. I don't think that anybody is out to get you. I do think, though, that it's going to be important for you to communicate the truth. But seeing, again, the King of Wands and then seeing the solar plexus, I think you have a very healthy ego going on right now. You know where you're headed. You know what you want to do. But then also, with new growth happening, it's important that, you're communicating the truth to the people that you're wanting to work with. Now, in terms of love, forgiving and learning, for those of you who are single, before you get started in another relationship, it is so important that you let go of past things. We all learn lessons when we get out of really bad relationships, but, if we don't take care of that internally, we just carry it into new relationships. But this is suggesting that, not only are you forgiving, but you're learning. Now, for those of you who are in a relationship, I love seeing things like flirt and playfulness with Sagittarius. I love it because I know what it's like. Being married to a Sag, I'm telling you, if that ain't my husband, smart ass. Smart ass is the best description. And that goes for Sagittarius males. I love you guys to death, but boy, oh boy. You have this smart-ass nature to you, but then you're also very charming and very passionate. So definitely, if you're happy in a relationship, show a little bit of that and, lighten up the relationship and make it fun. But overall, Sag, I do think that by the end of the week, and I keep hearing it, you're going to have to do some communicating, and it may be with people that you're wanting to work with or family members that you may need some help from.